Hello, everyone, and welcome to the first episode of the Play the Movies podcast. My name is Brie, also known as Wikimemia, and you might know me from Willie Osso's completely original quiz, in which I was a participant, and also the current editor. Well, today I bring you something that is not quizzical. I am bringing you a little podcast that I'm recording with my dear friend Sam.
Hello, my name is Sam. You might also know me as Sam. I am not affiliated in any way with Willie Osso or the completely original quiz, but I hope you enjoy my presence nonetheless.
So, this is a new podcast where two transgender women talk about video game movies, at least for now. If we're lucky enough to keep going and to cover a lot of video game movies, we might branch out to things that are not video game movies. But welcome to the Play the Movie podcast. Today's topic are very lovely Super Mario Brothers 1993.
It's the film that quite unfortunately has a big place in cinema history, and I do mean very unfortunately, for a lot of different reasons. It's kind of a big deal just in terms of like its existence. This is the first it's not the first video game movie, but it's the first live action like Hollywood video game movie. Hollywood's first real stab at trying to take a video game and adapt it into some form of film.
This was before Mortal Kombat even? I don't think I realized that.
No, yeah, it absolutely was.
I'm so used to Mortal Kombat being the one that's held up as like early stages, because apparently it still holds up, and I haven't seen it, so I don't know. But this one, goodness gracious!
Mortal Kombat 1 is still quite a bit of fun, and I don't know if I'd say it holds up so much as it like is still fun. The Super Mario Brothers movie does not. It's wrong
Yeah,
to say that it holds up because it was never up to begin with, I don't
that's
think. It
true.
it was down on the ground from the word go, and we just sort of left it there. Nobody wanted to tackle a Mario movie because they were so interested in the world and the story and the characters. The one consistent thing you'll find if you look into any of the pre-production is that no screenwriter actually could figure out what to do for a Super Mario Bros. Story. Like everyone was struggling with it. And that struggle is something that never let up. Not even by the time they were filming the actual fucking movie.
So when did you first see this movie?
Remember I first saw this movie when I had to be like 11 or 12 years old. It played exactly once on the Family Channel, I remember. I would be deadly curious to know what led to it playing on that TV because it's not like it ever played there before or ever again. I just remember seeing Super Mario Bros. On a TV channel and being like, what? And then tuning in and being really confused because I think it was about halfway through the movie.
Oh Lord.
Um, and as we'll get into, the only Mario related thing when you're that far into the movie is, oh, Bob Hoskins and John Leguizamo are in their Mario uniforms. And that's it.
Yeah, I mean Yoshi's there. He doesn't look like Yoshi though.
No, he is just a dinosaur.
Mm-hmm.
Funny thing about that Yoshi animatronic is that apparently Yoshi wasn't even in the movie until halfway through the filming. And there were like another rewrite came in that had Yoshi. And they were like, well, I guess we have to build a dinosaur now.
That makes complete sense because one of my notes here is that Yoshi feels like an afterthought.
Yep, there's a lot of this movie that feels like an afterthought. But before we get into the real meat of it, I hope you'll indulge me a little bit in doing a brief overview of the production of this movie.
Sure thing. I'll just say my history with this movie real quick before you get to that. My history with this movie is that I saw it for the first time a week ago. I have had an interest in watching it for a while, but not an interest so strong that I ever got to it. I've seen the 2023 movie. I liked it. I didn't love it.
I can hear the asterisks on that liked.
Yeah, it's I haven't seen the Galaxy movie, despite the fact that Galaxy is my favorite game of all time, because I just know that the Illumination movie is not going to tackle those same emotional beats that I really love in the original game.
You're right.
Yeah, well, apparently I was right, but maybe we'll get to it eventually. Let's get into production history.
Obviously, I'll try to keep things brief and not so dense, but I do have a few notes here. There's enough interesting tidbits around this movie's development that I think are at least worth mentioning. And also, I should mention that we're not going to be able to do this for almost any other video game movie we talk about.
That's true. This movie has an insane amount of documentation, especially at what's the website?
Shout out to smbmovie.com for archiving and sourcing basically every bit of info on this movie that it is possible to get a hold of. They also have some like exclusive interviews with people in there that I had to force myself to stop reading. Because I was reading an interview with one of the screenwriters of the movie and I got halfway through and I was like, this is really interesting. Nobody cares. I can't. Nobody cares, or I can't keep taking notes on this without like the entire discussion just becoming me talking about this one interview. The earliest incarnation or the earliest idea for a movie based on Mario was the idea floating around of doing a feature-length version of the Super Mario Brothers Super Show that was made by Dick Studios. Yeah, Nintendo licensed that off to Dick Studios in the 80s, and they had been running that show for a little while on television. At some point, apparently Dustin Hoffman, of all people, really wanted to acquire the film rights with the intent to star in the film alongside Danny DeVito. We don't know a lot about this version of the film other than apparently Barry Levinson was attached to it at some point. Barry Levinson you might know from he directed the Men in Black movies.
That would be, oh, what a universe that would be to watch that. Dustin Hoffman, Danny DeVito, and Barry Levinson.
Again, we don't know a lot about this version of the film other than at one point Ed Solomon, who co-wrote Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, was brought on to write a version of the script. Danny DeVito was offered the role of Mario. Arnold Schwarzenegger was approached to portray King Koopa, and then when he turned it down, apparently he approached Michael Keaton, uh,
Huh.
which, huh.
Keaton's pretty. Yeah, I could see Keaton swapping in for Dennis Hopper here. I could see that being relatively seamless.
Although, again, uh, this
This was a completely different draft.
absolutely, yeah, no, we are going to burn through like a lot of different writers before ending up where we do. At some point, the rights to the film ended up with producer Jake Edwards, and director Penny Marshall was brought on to direct. If you don't know Penny Marshall, she's probably best known for directing the Tom Hanks vehicle Big. Apparently, she didn't stay on the project very long. Barry Morrow was brought on to write the script, which, if you don't know, Barry Morrow won an Academy Award for writing the script for Rain Man. Uh,
Okay.
if I remember correctly, this version of the script was the last one that was done up before new screenwriters were brought on board and the final version of the film started to take shape. We don't know a lot about this other than in that interview I offhandedly mentioned, a screenwriter said that he was told, quote, not to read these drafts because we're starting from scratch, coming up with a different take. I think I skimmed them because I was curious, because Barry Morrow wrote Rain Man, so I thought, what did he do? And I did skim his draft, and it was weirdly similar to Rain Man, so it had gotten the nickname Drain Man in the production office. The other thing I know about this version of the film is that apparently it was surprisingly serious and straightforward. It was a story about two brothers taking a road trip. One of them, an upstanding gentleman with a normal job as such, and the other one, sort of a laid-back slacker who's like very much not very smart. Very weird idea for a Super Mario Brothers movie. But again, I think a lot of this comes back to the idea that what do you do for a Super Mario Brothers movie? Again, this is like 1991, 92. The newest
Hmm.
Super Mario game at the time was Super Mario World. The single driving factor in every Mario game up to this point was we have to rescue the princess and stop the big lizard. So what do you do with that
What do
aside?
you do with that? Yeah. And it's a different world and it's a lot of abstraction because it's pixel graphics. 1991, Mario's only been around for 6 years. The first,
Mhm,
well, no, Donkey Kong was before that, but the first Mario, Super Mario Brothers, not Mario Brothers, but Super Mario Brothers, released in 1985. So Mario as we know him was only about 6 years old. And then the only games that we had were Super Mario 1, Super Mario 2, maybe the Lost Levels if you're lucky,
mhm,
Super Mario 3, Super Mario Land for the Game Boy, and then Super Mario World for the SNES.
mhm.
And it's interesting, it's important to bring up Super Mario Land because that's the game that introduced Daisy, who is in this
Yes.
movie, whereas Princess Peach or Princess Toadstool, who was in all the other games, is not in this movie, which is
Yes.
an interesting choice
Very.
considering you pick the most iconic things from a Mario game and you would probably try to pick what's common and what shows up most often.
Yeah. I that's one of those things like when we get into larger discussion of the movie is so weird and I as I was like looking into the production, I was hoping, I was praying there would be like some answers to some of the weird things about the movie. Like why is it Daisy and not Peach in the movie? And I never found like a definitive answer.
My theory is I don't know, I didn't look into how many of the party games were out at the time, but I
Okay.
think it's the romance angle. I think that Peach is paired with Mario, but they didn't want to do a romance with Mario. They wanted to do a romance with Luigi. And so they chose Daisy as Luigi's natural pairing, basically.
Do you think they wanted a romance between for Luigi and not Mario because of like an age thing? Or do you think they were worried that like, oh, kids aren't going to want to see Bob Hoskins kissing a lady?
That I could absolutely see that being the case, especially because they got John Leguizamo and he's so much younger. And Samantha Mathis is also younger and she's also fantastic. I really like their chemistry in this movie. Holy
Yeah.
cow. It was there is some funny fucking lines from Leguizamo. But yeah, no, I do think it's like a case of if it's a movie for kids, the you skew the romance younger because who wants to see a middle-aged man fall in love with a middle-aged woman, or what kid wants to see that at least?
Hey, I'd have been okay with it maybe. I don't know. But
I
even
yeah, I
that
guess from the angle that it would be Mario and Peach, like the classical pairing. I think that would have its appeal. It wouldn't matter if they're middle-aged or not.
it's one thing to be it's one thing to be like, oh, kids like younger characters more, but also kids, you know what kids like, and I know this for a fact, they like Mario. They fuck they like
It's
Mario.
true.
They like Princess Peach. They like when Mario jumps.
Yeah, no, it's true.
It wasn't until 1992 it was finally announced that Bob Hoskins signed on to the film with the directing pair of Rocky Morton and Annabelle Jankel as the directors.
And they're married, or they were
Yes.
married at the time. They divorced in 2005.
You are going to be completely forgiven for not knowing who these directors are. You might know them if you're British, maybe, or if you were a 90s kid. These two directors are probably most famously known for creating Max Headroom, uh,
Oh,
the
yes, yes.
the glitchy, funny talking head man, who I don't know anything about other than he shows up in the
He
movie
shows up in Back to the
Pixels.
Future too. Oh, we're talking about different movies.
Okay.
He shows up in Back to the Future too, or they have a Max Headroom reference in Back to the Future
Okay.
too. Right, the character itself shows up in Pixels.
Did you know that the budget for this film was originally supposed to be $40 million, but by the end of production, shit had ballooned to 50 million, just
Ooh,
because we'll get, I feel like we'll get into it like as we talk naturally, but the production on this movie was famously a fucking disaster. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
Everyone walked away bitter and angry about the whole thing. Not helped by the fact that that city set, the famous Dino Manhattan or whatever the fuck.
Yeah, set looks pretty good.
It looks really good. The set was actually designed by the same guy who did fucking Blade Runner, which
Oh
is
shit.
insane to me.
Which guy is that? Would you mind?
David L. Snyder.
And he did the set design for Blade Runner?
He was the art director on Blade Runner.
He was the art director on Blade Runner, and he came onto this movie to do the main street.
Yes, that whole city thing. But the main point that I wanted to get at is that that city was built inside an abandoned cement factory, and they had around 400 extras in there at one point, and the building was not air conditioned.
Oh my god, no.
Apparently, it would sometimes get up to like 105 degrees Fahrenheit in there.
Oh my. Old movie like before the advent of LED lights that were like powerful enough to use on movie sets,
Hmm.
those old movie lights get hot as fucking shit. And so in so many old movies, you see people sweating up a fucking storm because those
Hmm.
movie lights get hot as hell. And then also, we're in the past, air conditioning isn't that prevalent or that good. So, yeah, oh, I can only imagine. Well, I'll just add on to your pre-production with the release of this movie at the box office. This movie debuted in theaters May 28th, 1993, and it debuted according to thenumbers.com. This movie debuted at the number 4 spot on the box office, and it grossed $8.5 million on its first weekend, which you said
Oof.
$50 million budget.
Yes.
That's not a bad start necessarily.
I can't imagine a lot of box office growth from that position onward, especially once reviews for the movie started coming out.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, Siskel and Ebert gave it 2 thumbs down, I believe.
Our next movie is a film version of a popular video game. It's called Super Mario Brothers, and it doesn't work at all.
This was not received very well at all. This is a good opportunity to bring up this interview with Dennis Hopper, who plays Bowser in the movie. In an interview with, it looks like, well, now it links to IGN, but so it doesn't say the outlet here on the Super Mario Brothers archive. But Dennis Hopper said this: "I made a picture called Super Mario Bros. And my 6-year-old son at the time, he's now 18, he said, 'Dad, I think you're probably a pretty good actor, but why did you play that terrible guy King Koopa in Super Mario Bros?' And I said, 'Well, Henry, I did that so that you could have shoes.' And he said, 'Dad, I don't need shoes that badly.'" Oh
Oh,
boy.
what a great quote. I'd say that like maybe that quote is more famous than most of the movie itself.
I think so. I've seen that quote quite a few times pop up.
Yeah,
So I suppose we should get now into what the hell is this movie even about? What is the plot? What is going on?
that's a good question. Even as someone who has just finished watching the movie for a second time, I'm still not entirely sure.
Well, I will say my first note, it starts out with the Mario theme, almost
Hmm.
verbatim, the level 1-1 theme for a company logo, and then it immediately switches to a score, and you'll never hear any Mario music in this movie again.
No, you will not.
But the intro starts off so fast paced. It starts off with this really scuffed fake 8-bit look and pixel animations with these dinosaurs that do not resemble the games in any capacity. I have written here in brackets, so retro.
Would you believe me if I told you that that intro was literally tacked onto the film at the very last minute?
That would make sense because that intro is so fucking fast and it's immediately like, here's the premise, motherfucker. You better buy in because we're going right now.
What if a meteorite struck the Earth that killed the dinosaurs didn't kill the dinosaurs? What if the meteor that struck the Earth opened a door to a parallel dimension where the dinosaurs continued to live? What if those dinosaurs then continued to evolve into human-like people? And what if those dinosaurs found a way back into our human world? It just hits you with that immediately, and that is so much shit to throw at you.
I do kind of admire it in the way that it's like, this is the premise, buy the fuck in right now, because your ass is not getting off this roller coaster. And then also the landscape of just like a forest, and it says Brooklyn 65 million years ago. That is one of the funniest fucking things I've ever seen. I saw that on Twitter with no context. I didn't know it was from this movie. The funniest fucking shit to me out of context. And even in context, that is pretty funny.
I really like that framing device, because then after that, we immediately go to a flashback, and then it says Brooklyn 20 years ago. There's a bit where we see a mysterious woman dropping an egg off at an orphanage. The egg is taken in by a group of nuns. And I remember one of my notes here is there's a bit where we see the egg hatch, and the camera like lingers on this image of Jesus, and I remember thinking, this is oddly profound for a Mario movie opening. A child born from an egg under the shadow of Jesus. There's a lot you could dig into there thematically, I feel.
Yeah, and then the woman who drops off the egg is then captured by Bowser, and we see the nuns are presumably going to raise this human child who came out from the egg. It is completely a human child.
Yes.
It's not like a dinosaur or a fungus, which we'll get into later. It's a human. And then we go to Brooklyn present day,
where we see our two favorite Italian plumbers, Mario and Luigi. And I will say, I think the dialogue between these two can be kind of awkward at times, but Bob Hoskins and John Leguizamo as Mario and Luigi, kind of an inspired casting choice. I mean,
they're really good.
Visually, they look really iconic together, and they actually do bounce off each other in a pretty natural way, I feel.
Yeah, no, I was gonna say like more or less. I mean, they're giving it their all. They're not, they're not really phoning it in. And the chemistry is great. The voice that Hoskins is doing is fantastic.
Yes.
It's really good, and it's very consistent throughout the movie as well. I do have in my notes no mustache on Luigi, with a question mark. But I think this actually works in the broader movie because he's a younger guy, and I think it would be harder to sell him as that sort of younger brother if he had a mustache.
Yeah, I am more than fine with changes to the source material if it makes like a better film, and I think Luigi without a mustache is one of those changes that like I'm more than fine with. Bob Hoskins has enough mustache for the two of them.
That's true. Hoskins' mustache in this is fantastic. It's really good. So Leguizamo's Luigi is like kind of an airhead. But he's got this instinct that always seems to be right. And I think that's a pretty good archetype for the character. I mean, it's not the sort of characterization we get with Luigi in like the video games or the movies nowadays. But I do think it works for this movie, and Mario plays a bit more of the straight man, which absolutely works in this pairing. So then we're introduced to Samantha Mathis's Daisy. She's at a construction site that's been shut down because they discovered the presence of dinosaur bones, and she is an archaeologist working with a local university to preserve and extract and whatever the fuck archaeologists do, these dinosaur bones. Through some shenanigans, she meets Mario and Luigi. They go to dinner together, and she has like a fascination with dinosaurs. And there's a very funny exchange during the dinner scene where Leguizamo's Luigi says, "No way, there used to be dinosaurs in Brooklyn?" And Hoskins says, "There used to be Dodgers in Brooklyn." And he's like it changes all the time or whatever, and it just that exchange made me laugh. I did actually think a lot of the zingers they gave those two were pretty funny.
I think it's a mixed bag. Maybe some of them flew over my head because I'm not from Brooklyn and I just don't
Well,
know these things.
that's true. I mean, there's the one near the end where Luigi says, "Boy, she sure makes an impression," or something
Hey,
like that. That one was so stupid, but it still
after
got
a
me.
woman has been fucking atomized and skeletonized against the wall.
Man, she sure makes an impression.
It's like, she's
Exactly,
dead,
yeah.
Luigi.
She's dead, and he's immediately, boy, she sure makes an impression. Really good stuff. More shenanigans happens. I mean, we can't go over every single little thing that happens. Daisy is kidnapped by the Blowjob brothers. We're first introduced to these characters, and they're acting very odd. And in my notes, I wrote, "What's up with Wario and Waluigi?" I don't think that Wario or Waluigi existed yet. Then in brackets, I wrote Blowjob brothers, and then later we learn their names are Spike and Iggy, which is a weird thing from the source material because
Mm-hmm.
Iggy is one of the Koopalings, but Spike most definitely is not.
I think part of the writing process involved just kind of throwing in Mario references where they could. While they were making the movie, the directors kind of already had a finished idea of what the movie was going to be like. At least an interview with the screenwriter I mentioned earlier, he mentioned that part of what they did was just go in and be like, where can we fit in like any kind of reference to Mario games, because they knew the audience would be looking for that kind of thing.
And it's, yeah, similar to, I suppose, what happened with the Halo TV show, where they wanted to make a movie about like an alternate world full of dinosaur people, and then tacked some fucking Mario stuff onto it. And for clarification, I'm not saying that the directors of the Halo show wanted to do a show with dinosaur people. Don't get it twisted,
What?
folks. But Spike and Iggy, I did not like them. And then later in the movie, King Koopa makes them smarter, and then I immediately fucking love them. They're so fantastic. Okay, so Daisy's kidnapped. The Mario brothers follow her in through this portal. Some really wonky CGI occurs that looks about on par with Google Earth these days.
It does not look good, I'll say. I know that's a daring opinion, but I'm bold enough to make that claim that the
Brave
CGI
enough,
work
yeah.
in this film from 1993 doesn't hold up.
It's quite rare in this movie. It doesn't happen very often, although it does stick out like a sore thumb when it does. We enter the Mushroom Kingdom, where this is such a weird concept. So Mushroom Kingdom in the games is this world with giant mushrooms, and it's got these turtles and just mushroom-like things walking around.
Obviously, aesthetically, the games are playing with a lot of different things, but if I were to point to like specific reference points for how to describe the aesthetic of the Mario Bros. Games, it would be fantasy media and fairy tales. We've got talking turtles, we've got evil mushrooms, we've got floating bricks.
Pipes all over the place, sort of randomly. Castles.
None of which screams cyberpunk Blade Runner dystopian hellscape to me.
No, it's true. It's true. I mean, they don't even. I mean, I feel like it's a real. They don't really even take a pipe to the Mushroom Kingdom. It's like a magic portal. But like, I feel like it's a missed opportunity. I mean, the 2023 movie did it, but I feel like it's a missed opportunity to not have them travel through a pipe. So we're in this weird, rundown cyberpunk dystopia where everybody is a dinosaur that looks like a human being, which.
Yeah.
I mean,
Describes the premise, breaks down the media.
oh my god, what is going on with this? This is absolutely, obviously, and Hollywood does this all the time, even still, which is that they take something that is like a high fantasy or like a very detached from reality premise, and they try and ground it in reality with in whatever ways they can, by like, oh, this person's supposed to be a turtle or a dragon or something. Well, why don't we just make them a human, and then their true form that we'll see later is like, the thing that they're actually supposed to be. And Hollywood has a habit of doing that, and Hollywood is doing this here, despite the fact that the production design is pretty nice, and we do see some iconic Mario things in here that do look good. Not most of it, but some of it. I mean, it all looks good, but not all of it looks like Mario.
There's a lot of money and effort getting thrown into this concept that I think on paper just like, I don't want to say like it's absolutely nothing, but it is such a bizarre and strange call to make for Mario specifically.
Yeah, none of the games up to this point look like this. We've got grassy hills, we've got deserts. We don't have abandoned cement factories.
Not only do none of them look like this at this point, none of them will ever look like this.
No, that's true too. That's true too. Oh my goodness. Shenanigans happen. Mario and Luigi go to jail, and then we're introduced to the Devo, the de-evolution machine.
Oh right, oh right.
Okay, I want to talk about this. Okay.
Yes.
So first of all, they turn Toad into a Goomba.
Which does not look like a fucking Goomba.
Which does not look like a Goomba, okay? So this movie has, from the games, it has Goombas and Koopas, but they call them both Goombas. And then they're also all reptiles. Like the Koopas are turtles. I understand them being reptiles. But the Goombas are like mushroom things? And they turn them into reptiles too, in terms of production design? Creature designer on this was Patrick Tatopoulos, who also worked on 1998's Godzilla. And that makes a lot of fucking sense, because especially at the ending, King Koopa resembles fucking 1998 Zilla a ton. Like, it's a crazy... Patrick Tatopoulos cannot be allowed near Japanese properties ever again.
We have to do something about this.
We
man
have to
from
do
30
something
years ago.
about Patrick Tatopoulos' career from 30 years ago. Oh my goodness. I did have a revelation though, that them turning the Goombas into reptiles does maybe let them get around the fact that it that if they didn't turn them into reptiles, it might look like brownface.
That's
Because I was thinking they make them scaly, but if you
Yeah.
don't make them scaly, then what do? You make them porous. You make it look like skin, and then it's brown. And
I guess the other option is I was gonna propose a solution, but then I realized that solution is just scrapping the entire premise of the movie again. If you make them weird, small, little monsters that are easy to step on, that sidesteps a lot of this, but then you don't have the fucking dinosaur world idea,
yeah,
and the whole thing just sort of crumbles apart.
yeah, and what's with the tiny heads? Oh my god, I fucking hate the tiny heads. This is crazy. This is crazy. And I realized why they did it earlier today. I was like, oh, because they needed a bunch of them, and they needed them to be like emotive, but like the bigger the prosthetic head is, like the more expensive it is to build, the harder it is to get it to sort of emote and stuff like that. So it's just them cheaping out, and it does lead to an iconic look, I will admit, with the tiny heads. It's not a good look, but it is an iconic look.
It sticks with you, definitely. Like, regardless of the rest of the film, I remember the fucking Goombas.
Yeah. Dennis Hopper is here as King Koopa or Bowser.
Or Mr. Exposition. Because holy shit. Like, I want to say the first half of this movie, anytime you see him, he is just explaining the plot. That opening bit with explaining the alternate dimensions and the meteorite gets explained again verbatim by Dennis Hopper. like at least 2 more times
Right.
throughout the film.
Because they tacked that beginning on at the last minute. Right.
Yes.
That makes sense.
Apparently the producers were fucking terrified that audiences were not gonna get it. They were like, you need to repeat it a lot.
To be fair to them, I think without that intro, this would be even more of a clusterfuck than it already is. Oh my god. Dennis Hopper, I think he's pretty good in this. I think the script lets him down. And
Yeah.
I think his first scene with the Blowjob Brothers sucks. It makes him look like an incompetent, like he's a dictator, but it makes him look insanely incompetent to rely on these Blowjob Brothers. I don't know. He comes across as like really wimpy and whiny in the first scene, and then the rest of the scenes are like fine. But that first scene is like a really bad.
I'm not a huge fan of Dennis Hopper in this movie. I think his performance feels corny and off the wall, but like too much. Like he's not taking it seriously even though he probably should be for the movie, and I think that mostly comes down to the script. Cuz obviously Dennis Hopper is a very good actor, fucking fantastic in Blue Velvet, but I don't know. There's something about his performance in this that like bounces off of me quite drastically.
Yeah. Like I want to say he's good in this because at least in my perception, I think he's doing some good stuff, but I'm also like not like he's not on the level of Lugazamo and Hoskins who play off each other so well. Lena. What the hell is up with Lena?
Now Lena is Bowser's, not King Koopa. King Koopa's like henchwoman, right? His secondhand woman.
Yeah, not from the games. I mean, they could have done the same thing that they did with Spike and Iggy and called her like Wendy, which is a character name from the games, but they didn't. She's just Lena, who does not exist.
I think at a certain point, it's safe to put up like just a general disclaimer for anyone listening that like things to compare to the video game stop here.
Yeah,
There's no more
that's
video
true. We get.
game stuff from the Mario movie. Do we talk about them getting arrested yet?
I mean, I mentioned it briefly. I don't think I want to. I don't think I want to say anything about them getting arrested other than I love the police car design. Holy fucking shit. That is a really, really good prop design.
I think I love the design of the traffic, just generally speaking. This, like, it's not cyberpunk vehicles, it's like metal punk. I don't know if that's the right term.
Yeah,
but
like a rust punk, like a post-apocalypse.
it's this maximalist design of just like there's 1,000 things strapped to each vehicle and they're all shooting sparks off at the same time.
Yeah, and they have this like streetcar element to them where they draw power from like power lines above them.
Yes.
I think that's nice. That's fun. That's creative.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things I do want to mention with prop design is this is something that I think is kind of it loops back around to being kind of crazy. Bowser, I'm just gonna call him Bowser. I'm not gonna call that motherfucker King Koopa. That's it. I've had enough. But Bowser gets this. We're shown the de-evolution machine, which is like this whole machine that can either evolve a life form back down to millions of years in the proverbial past, or it can evolve them further into like a more intelligent being, as we see both with Toad and with Iggy and Spike. And then later, Bowser gets his hands on a portable Devo gun, and it's a repainted Super Scope from the SNES. And I think that's it's a good bit of prop design, and I like it. But what's even more funny is they sold a Devo gun toy for the tie-in to this movie.
Oh.
Which does not look like a Super Scope.
Oh.
But also, like, if you wanted a Devo toy prop from this movie, you just get your hands on a Super Scope.
Yeah. I mean, that'd do it.
And it's also, like, in the movie, it's, like, black, and the Super Scope itself is, like, gray. The toy is bright blue. Like, again, another point towards just get a Super Scope. Yoshi shows up.
Fuck yeah, he does.
Yoshi is a generic dinosaur. He doesn't even have the little red shell, which is like the easiest thing they could have given him.
He's not even green. He's just generic dinosaur shade.
Is he not green? Well, he's not a bright green.
No, he's just not green.
What do you mean he's not green?
He's
Is
like
he-
yellowish, isn't he?
Oh, good lord, he is kind of yellowish.
Yeah.
What the fucking shit?
They made the Goombas green. They gave Yoshi a yellow tint.
Yeah. What in God's name? I didn't even notice. I mean, the top of him is green, but then the rest of him is like, okay, well, if they made the whole thing green, then it would get lost in the visual. There needs to be some form of contrast in it. But still, he is mostly yellow.
Yes.
You're right.
Not only is he mostly yellow, nobody ever jumps on his back or smacks him on the back of the head to eat an apple.
Both of which are true. I had a much bigger thought when it came to Yoshi in this movie, which is, okay, so Yoshi is like a small, kind of a dog-sized dinosaur in this movie, which is fine. It's like a decent adaptation of what Yoshi was and what he looks like. He feels like an afterthought in this movie, and there's a character moment where I think it was a huge missed opportunity where Daisy goes to escape and Yoshi sort of attacks Lena so that Daisy can escape. But Daisy doesn't like free Yoshi.
Yeah.
And I think that's a really bad character moment because it makes Daisy look like an asshole. Because she doesn't free this poor chained dog.
No, yeah. I didn't even think about that while I was watching it, but that's such a good point. Yoshi, fucking Daisy leaves Yoshi behind to die.
Yeah, and he gets stabbed.
Yeah.
By Lena.
Like, Yoshi escapes somehow anyway, but still.
Yeah.
That's fucked up.
Like, that was a character moment that I was like, this sucks. This doesn't make Daisy look good. This makes her look like an asshole to me.
I'm willing to put on the table they may have just forgotten to write that in.
Yeah, no, it's possible. I mean, I certainly think when they were blocking that scene, filming that scene, they absolutely were not thinking.
This might be a good time to bring up, there was an LA Times piece that was written while the movie was in production, which paints a fairly damning picture of the production. And there's one specific point I want to narrow in on, specifically in reference to this. I'll quote directly from the article here. Quote, "The directors are improvising the story as they inch along, and entering the 8th week of a 12-week shoot that ultimately went 3 weeks longer. At least 9 writers have worked on the script, now grown as thick as nearby Willington's phone book, rainbow-colored with rewritten pages. The only page color missing is the original draft. No white pages remain."
Holy shit.
Yeah, the article also makes reference of Bob Hoskins and John Leguizamo sitting in their trailer, Dennis Hopper being on set, not bothering to read the script because they know that, like, by time tomorrow comes around, there will be another rewritten draft and they'll have to just throw out everything they memorized the previous day. They were flying by the seat of their fucking pants. From the sounds of it, nobody really knew what, like, the completed version of the story was going to look like. Paraphrasing from the article again, we haven't gotten to the fungus yet in the story, but
No, we haven't.
but the article offhandedly mentions that for some reason the fungus that's draping the set is now going to be part of the main story, and many in the casting crew are hoping that element of it gets dropped.
Oh my god. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's... Holy cow. That is just so much. I mean, okay, the fungus thing does confuse me because there's a scene where Daisy and Bowser are like talking and he's like weirdly coming on to her, but then nothing comes of it in the story. But he's telling her like, oh, there's something different about you. And I was like, okay, so she's part dinosaur? She's like a dinosaur person?
We saw her hatch out of the egg.
We saw her hatch out of the egg, and then he brings her to her father, who is a de-evolved fungus.
Yes.
So she's a fungus person? Not
No.
a dinosaur person, as the implication is?
I think what they were trying to imply is that they de-evolved him so far that he became a fungus. Like, if you go back, if you de-evolve even further than dinosaurs, you get to like
Oh,
cellular, like fungus life forms, I guess.
okay. My understanding of it was that there's reptile people and then all of a sudden there's fungus people. So I suppose that it would make more sense that it was still all dinosaurs.
At least I think.
I mean, there's so many ways to interpret this movie.
It's really it's really complex. If you think about it, there's a lot of
A lot of
you
things.
need it's a thinking person's movie. You need to read into a lot of this stuff. Okay.
Well, here's what I want to read into and why I brought up Yoshi. Do they have a responsibility to turn Yoshi into a human being? Because he's a little dinosaur guy. Okay, we get the Goombas, and they're like, the Goombas are people who have been unfairly devolved.
Yes.
And so it is the responsibility of Daisy, and you would think of the Mario Brothers, but they leave, so it's fine. It's whatever, Daisy's gonna take care of it. It's the responsibility of the society to turn the Goombas back into like human people.
Right.
And Yoshi is also kind of a devolved creature. But that would be really weird if Yoshi was like a human person. Like Bowser as a human person is like, okay, whatever. But Yoshi as a human person, that's a bridge too far for me.
That is absolutely a bridge too far. I am with you on that. I don't know. I don't think Yoshi is like a de-evolved person. I think Yoshi is just like a poorly elaborated on pet. Like this universe's version of a dog.
Yeah, that would make sense because we see street vendors who sell lizards. So they're still lizards. But they could turn Yoshi into a human. Even if he naturally
It's possible,
looks
yeah.
like that.
My point of contention, something I'd like to raise you, is why the fuck doesn't anyone evolve themselves? Why doesn't King Koopa ever at any point be like, you know what, I think it would be better if I'm smarter, actually, and like evolve himself further? We only do it the one time for a gag with like the two blowjob brothers, so that like, oh, now they
Yeah.
can talk smart. But like the ability to just have a machine that just makes you smart is like such a huge advantage that we're just completely skipping over.
Yeah. Well, it's also a weird thing because the Mario Brothers shove Bowser into the de-evolution machine and they de-evolve him a little bit, and then he starts like glitching and like gaining like dinosaur features because he's been devolved. But he could just hop back in that chair and
Yeah.
evolve a bit more.
I love how nothing comes from that. There's just like the one bit where like his eye turns reptilian and then like it doesn't affect him at all for the rest of the film.
This dinosaur world plot fucking sucks. It's
Yes.
not, it brings up too many questions, too many implications. It doesn't have anything to do with the fucking, like, you could just have like a portal to an alternate world where there are Koopas and Goombas. Like, you don't have to make this big fucking thing of like there's a de-evolution machine.
For as many faults as I do have for the newer Mario movies, they absolutely went the correct route of just Mario shows up in another world, and if you just show the audience, if you trust the audience to get it, then like that results in like such a better movie rather than like having to fucking explain every single aspect of your plot because you've already built a world in your head and need to like retroactively explain every part of it rather than bring it up naturally.
Yeah. So many Hollywood types can't seem to trust the audience to like take fantasy at face value, or trust the audience to take fantasy at its face value, because audiences do that all the time. But for whatever reason, you got to explain like everything, like especially in reboots. There doesn't need to be a reason for everything. You can they can just have an alternate world with Koopas and Goombas. But instead, we have a world with a nightclub. Now we get to talk about the nightclub. That was a really good segue.
Now we get to talk about Big Bertha.
Big Bertha. Oh my
Folks.
God, do I have notes about Big Bertha?
Folks, I love Big Bertha, and I'm hoping you love Big Bertha too.
My note here is Mario Riz? Question mark? He goes up, he says,
Excuse me,
Will you hit me again? I've never seen such fluidity. The way your knuckles flying as you smash them into my face. Huh?
Dance with me.
Can you punch me again? That was a really strong hook, and I love the way my nose dislocated or whatever. And it's like, oh my god, dude. Like, if
Same.
someone talked to me that way, like, I'm letting her hit. But, it's the dance is funny. Like, him trying to get the rock is funny. And she's a fun character.
She's not in the movie very long, but like she does leave a hell of an impression.
The club scene is generally like I really liked it for Spike and Iggy, and then also Big Bertha.
Actually, what club scene are we at right now? Because I just realized there are two different club scenes.
It's fine. We're past it.
Okay, yeah. You know what? Yeah,
I just wanted to bring up the nightclub because I wanted to talk about Big Bertha.
You know what? I'm with you. Let's fuck everything else. It's the Big Bertha movie now.
It's the Big Bertha movie.
Big Bertha's the one who gives them their big jump boots so that Mario can finally do a big
Mario
jump.
can jump. Yeah, they're surf Draculaing fucking jumping in Mario, which is crazy.
That's so fucking
This
funny.
This is what we're talking about with the not being able to trust the audience. Like, I mean, you could literally give the excuse like, oh, it's a place that's got lower gravity, or they can just jump big. They don't even use the jump boots to do anything.
They don't stomp at any fucking Goombas.
They don't stomp on.
They don't jump on anyone's head.
Why do they have jump boots?
That's the
Why
one.
do they have them? The one thing is you jump on enemies. And they've got they kind of adapt the fire flowers too with the flamethrower gun that shoots like fireballs like fire flowers do. Which is, for this world, like a pretty decent adaptation. I would say the jump boots are a decent adaptation for this world also, but nobody ends up doing anything with them.
Again, it comes right back down to like fucked on a conceptual level. This is a hunch. I don't have like confirmation of this, but I get the feeling that the reason these directors were ultimately the ones who were chosen and landed was because they were probably the only ones to have like a fully realized idea of like a world and a story they wanted to tell, rather than because they had an interesting Mario take.
Yeah. You know what? That does track, because somebody, perhaps, I don't want to say somebody more talented, but I mean, a lot of other directors would want to take careful consideration for the elements of Mario and how it all fits together.
Yeah.
And these two seem to not really give a shit.
Here's what I'll say on the whole of this. I don't think we would be complaining nearly as much if the movie turned out to be good. If the movie, like, on its own was like actually a well put together, fun action adventure film, then like, yeah, we would still probably complain a little bit about like, oh, it's a shame it's like got no Mario stuff in it, but it was still pretty good. It's just the fact that like their replacement vision for what a Mario movie could be turned out to be as shit as it is magnifies the disappointment in not getting any of the Mario stuff.
It's one thing to be a kind of uninteresting plot kids movie, but it's another thing to be an uninteresting plot kids movie that's an adaptation of like one of the biggest video game franchises in the world.
Yeah. Fucking nobody gives a shit about Theodore Rex. That's because Theodore Rex is a bad movie. Listen, if they fucking called Theodore Rex Final Fantasy the movie, then we would still be talking about Theodore Rex and what an incredible fuck up it is.
Oh, absolutely.
But because it's not called Final Fantasy, we just sort of let it slip under the radar. And that's why we're not allowed to let the Super Mario Brothers movie out of our grasp.
It did some interesting stuff, and it did a lot of sinning, and it's worth analysis for that reason. It's worth being the inaugural episode of the Play the Movie podcast.
Yeah.
Another note, the Bomb has a Reeboks logo.
Does it? Oh, right, it does.
What the fuck is that about?
There's no way that's actual product, but that's got to be like just like an offhand joke, right?
I might think so, but I mean, you can't just use the logo.
Probably not.
Okay, so I did Google this. Apparently, the prop department used a Tomy wind-up toy as the basis for the Bomb, but there was copyright information molded into the shoes, into the feet of the wind-up toy. So the Reebok logo, this article says it functioned not only as goofy product placement, but also as an obstruction to the copyright information on the on the foot of the wind-up toy. And apparently, the footwear company received a special thanks credit. Yeah, in the credits of the movie, special thanks Reebok.
Okay, so it wasn't direct product placement.
They just kind of did that. My final note that I wanted to talk about is that the Twin Towers become the Koopa Towers.
They sure do. Which brings us right. We should talk about the point in the story because we haven't even fucking talked about King Koopa's motivation. What's he want to do? He
Yeah.
wants to merge the two dimensions. What does that entail? I don't know. It's never fully elaborated on. There's a bit where the worlds do merge, and in that brief period of time, the Twin Towers fucking dissolve.
They dissolve and they become a damaged Koopa Towers, which is another hilarious, like, pre 9/11, like, fucking oops.
Oh.
I mean, we all know in the real world that Bowser had nothing to do with 9/11.
Of course not. He was in Germany at that point in time. Doing press for his newest album.
That's right.
I don't know why I said that.
Songs from a Koopa King.
The Koopa Ballad.
Koopa Cabana.
Got the Koopa Cabana. Sure, that's funny enough to leave in.
Yeah, that's great. That's really good. We're not tired, and we're not. I'm not losing my mind in the heat of my room.
I'm not upset about the fact that I've watched this movie twice and spent like 3 hours reading interviews and documents about this. I'm not. Okay?
No.
Don't put in the newspaper that I am. The worlds get merged, and for a brief moment, Koopa thinks he's winning, and he uses his de-evolution gun to zap someone, turns him into a monkey, and then he looks at that person, he points at them, and he says,
Monkey!
And it's very good. We do love that. But then...
Very lovely clip.
Then they get dissolved back into the dinosaur world, where Mario steals the gun, shoots Koopa with it, and then he turns into a dinosaur, and they're like, whoa.
Yes.
And then I
did want to talk about this.
And then he turns into goop and dies. It's actually unclear.
There's like 3 different looks that they put Bowser through. One of which looks like the mask.
One of them looks like an actual physical dinosaur animatronic they had. Another one looks like an entirely CG rendition of it.
That is absolutely, yes.
And it rapidly fluctuates between like 3 or 4 different states all at once in a matter that I have to admit looks quite disgusting. And I'm not sure how intentional that was.
It's disgusting looking, but most importantly to me, this is where we get the absolute, like, Bowser at the end, the sort of practical prop version thing, bears the most striking resemblance to 1998's Zilla. That's immediately what stuck out to me. And then I looked it up, and it was Patrick Tatopoulos back again to commit more of his crimes against Japanese character designs.
It's possible that was just a coincidence, because I know Godzilla looking like a T-Rex was like Roland Emmerich's call in the 1998 Zilla movie, but still.
But I mean, no, it is. I mean, I think part of it has to be Patrick Tatopoulos reheating his nachos.
It's possible.
The movie ends. The Mario Brothers go back. Daisy wants to stay in the Mushroom Kingdom, if it even is the Mushroom Kingdom.
Yes.
Whatever.
It's fucking Dinoopolis or whatever the fuck.
Dinopolis.
Dinotopia.
She
Nope.
wants to stay in Dinotroit, and then Luigi is sad about it. And 3 weeks pass, and she comes back, and she looks like Sarah Connor.
Yep.
And which tees up a sequel that surprisingly never happened.
What?
This is very shocking.
She comes in, she says, "Guys, there's a sequel just outside. Come on, get your gear." Yeah, and then there's a funny post-credit scene where I don't know if those are actual Nintendo employees or not, but two Japanese
No,
men.
they're actors.
Okay, two Japanese men come in and are like, "We want to make a game about all your adventures." And the fucking blowjob brothers are on the couch and they're like, "Yeah."
Yeah, the gag being they're not talking to Mario and Luigi.
Yeah. You know what? Solid gag.
Solid gag. I did like that, and I fast forwarded to see if there was a post credits, and I was like, oh, there was, and I said to you, did you watch the post credits? And you were like, I didn't even know there was post credits.
No, I wanted to get out of the movie as soon as possible.
Yeah, fair enough.
But I did end up watching the movie again because of a strange curiosity. We mentioned earlier that there is a cult audience surrounding this movie, a group of people who are like diehard fans of this movie. And if any of those people are watching right now, there might be one or two of those fucking nerds who are going, "But Sam, but Brie, what about the Morton Jenkel cut?"
Which is the two last names of the directors.
Yes.
I'm just
The
realizing.
Morton Jenkel cut is, to put it simply, a fan effort to try and recut the movie closer in line with the director's vision, which is very funny to me, given the previous note about the script lacking all the pages of the original script. It really doesn't sound like there was a coherent vision. It sounds like the vision was changing every day on set, and it led all the actors to drinking heavily. But I did, out of curiosity, boot it up, and I did kind of watch the Morton Jenkel cut. It was mostly something I put on in the background and just like sort of kept paying attention to. It is like 20 or 15 minutes longer than the theatrical cut, and I wrote down 2 notes while I was watching this that I shared with Brie earlier. The first one is that it features 1 or 2 more scenes with Scapelli, the rival plumbers from the beginning of the movie. Number 2, it is more overtly Marxist.
Yeah, what's that about?
There's a brief moment in like the theatrical cut where Spike and Iggy are caught by King Koopa after switching sides to be on Team Mario, and they straight up just call King Koopa a fascist and an oppressor of the proletariat. So that's already in the base movie, which you could argue is like a haha funny jokes. It's like a Barbie joke where someone calls Barbie a fascist and she's like, "But I don't even decide when the trains run."
I don't control the railways, or she said.
But the Morton Jenkel cut adds back in a deleted scene where Spike and Iggy are at the club and they're just sort of debating, they're talking about their society and the ways in which the majority of people are oppressed, and they're like,
When we met 2 plumbers
Who had an idea?
they showed us the lane.
And the new frontier.
Mario
And Luigi.
they know what's right.
We gotta take a stand and put up a fight.
Well, stop and
think
think
this
this through.
through.
It's time to get rid of
you know who? A radical development is taking place.
Iggy
And Spike will set the pace. Koopa.
that he starts rapping about the people rising up and taking the power back, and everyone's
starts
dancing to that.
rapping?
Yes.
Everyone's dancing to him rapping. Are you
Yes.
serious? This is in this
This is in the
fan
extended cut. Yes.
This is a deleted scene from the movie. He
Yes.
starts rapping.
Yes. Of course, not all the changes in the Morton Jenkel cut are as fun and interesting as that. Most of them are boring as shit. Uh, there's some good bits, like a bit of an extended dinner conversation, but most of the time the edits are like really infuriatingly short. Like, oh, they added like 2 seconds on the end of this shot, or they added like half a second onto this shot, or they added licensed music into this scene when there wasn't any licensed music there before. And it's not worth it. Like, most of the actual like story beat edits are like things I look at and I go, "Oh, no, You absolutely should have cut that. That was that absolutely had to go. There's one or two interesting bits like the aforementioned rap scene, but like most of the time it's not worth it. The point about the Morton Jenko cut is that if you are a diehard purist and like the Mario movie is the most interesting thing in the world to you, maybe check it out, but it's not a better version of the movie. It doesn't fix anything.
So we already touched on the box office, but where it ended up was $50 million budget, and the box office in total, that first weekend, it was $8.5 million. In total, the box office, domestic and international, came out to about $40 million, which you typically want to double a film's budget to get the sort of the cost of the marketing added in, and so a film needs to make sort of double its budget back in order to break even.
Yeah.
This movie did not. It bombed.
Yep. Both critically and commercially.
And Mario was dead in cinema for 30 years until the 2023 Mario movie, tackled by Illumination, which by comparison is much more faithful, but probably a lot less interesting.
Absolutely. I'd say the Illumination Mario movie is like a little better in terms of quality, but like it's nowhere near as interesting to talk about.
No. Oh, this is where I should bring up the Miyamoto quote. So the 1993 movie, they didn't work very closely with Nintendo, and there's an interview with Miyamoto, Shigeru Miyamoto, the creator of Mario. He said of the 1993 movie, "Well, when we first initiated talks about a Super Mario Bros. Movie, I tried to emphasize the point that the Mario Bros. Games are fun as video games, and if we were going to make a Mario Bros. Movie, that movie should be entertaining as a movie, and not a translation of the video game. I think that they tried very hard, and in the end, it was a very fun project that they put a lot of effort into. The one thing that I still have some regrets about is that the movie may have tried to get a little too close to what the Mario Brothers video games were, and in that sense, it became a movie that was about a video game rather than being an entertaining movie in and of itself."
Absolutely delirious quote. What is he talking about?
I think I understand, and I think he has a point in that. Yeah, this movie might be a better movie if it wasn't a Super Mario. Like, it could stand on its own strengths. I mean, unaltered, no, it's still not a good movie. But if it got further away from what Mario's supposed to be, maybe it could have been something fun.
That's fair.
However, I think this quote has aged like fucking shit, because exactly what he's talking about is exactly what happened with the 2023 movie.
Yep.
The movie may have tried to get a little too close to what the Mario Bros. Video games were. The 2023 movie, there's nothing for us to really discuss because it is the video games.
Yeah.
It is like the designs and the, and what happens and the sort of world and the mechanics of everything is exactly what happens in the video games. And it did not focus on being a good movie because the story is just very weak and not very compelling, again, which is crazy.
But that, as they say, is a story for another time. Or maybe it isn't.
That is a story. That is maybe a story for another episode.
As we come to the close of this episode of Sam and Brie Played at Movies, or Brie and Sam Played at Movies, or Played at Movies with Brie and Sam, or Played at Movies with Sam and Brie, I would like to leave off with a post-mortem quote by Bob Hoskins in an interview he did for The Guardian in 2011. Quote, Bob Hoskins, "The worst thing I ever did? Super Mario Brothers. It was a fucking nightmare. The whole experience was a nightmare. It had a husband and wife directing team whose arrogance had been mistaken for talent. After so many weeks, their own agent told them to get off the set. Fucking nightmare. Fucking idiots." So, how are you feeling, Brie?
I'm feeling decent, And I think let us know in the comments, What do you think about the Super Mario Brothers 1993 movie? What was your first experience with it? What does it leave you thinking about?
Did it
Uh,
awaken
mi-
anything in you?
did it awaken anything in you? Anything kind of sexy? Anything kind of
Is there something
I
you
don't
want to
know.
talk about?
Is there something you want to tell us in the comments down below?
This is a safe space to say the Super Mario Brothers movie 1993 got you horny. That's okay, okay?
That's okay to say. You can walk the dinosaur all the way down to the comments. You can also leave a like and subscribe because we will have more episodes of the Play the Movies podcast coming soon. And also, we'll try not to fish for comments too much. Tell us what video game movie you might want to see next. We are absolutely open to taking suggestions.
Please tell us in the comments that we forgot about the animated Mario movie that came out before the live action one. Please let us
Oh,
know
yes.
that we totally fucked up and forgot to talk about that one, and not that we didn't talk about it on purpose. If you could just let us know that like really irritated you and you're very annoyed, I would really appreciate that. Thank you very
You
much.
have to tell us this, actually.
It's the rule. You made it this far into the fucking podcast, okay? You have to tell us.
You gotta tell us.